Hello, my name is Matt Franks. I'm lead pastor of Tahlequah United Methodist Church in Tahlequah, Oklahoma. My proposal and project was in the thick of COVID. It was exposed that our staff and our team members were not as efficient at utilizing technology and relied too much on me to do all the technology for them. And so I wanted to, with my project, to work on together, to learn, to better help uh, equip and connect them into these digital formats. That way they can connect our congregation with each other during this global pandemic. And it really was. My proposal was really simple to help our team connect to people more efficiently by phone calls, digital communication, and other forms of communication. So I, as the lead pastor, am not spending too much time doing these tasks that keep me away from being healthier as a leader and being more present in ways that I can for my congregation in the middle of a global pandemic. And let's be honest, it was very hard trying to do all the Zoom meetings, trying to do all the communication that I was running myself into the ground, which is not a good place for me to be as a leader. And so to equip my team members to be able to do these things will allow us to do amazing things for the kingdom of God. Our goals were simple. How we can measure success was simple, to make sure that more people are feeling connected to the life of the church, that they know what's going on, that they know what's going on, how to connect in, so that way people will know how we're operating as a church during the global pandemic. We were hoping that for our come and receive event that we would average about 50 person per come and receive Holy Communions in the fall. And then that more people were connecting into our digital gatherings by at least about 10 people. We were having about 2 to 3 people, and we were shooting for 10 people in each of our groups. And then hoping for more connections to those who can't join in worship by about 20 people. And so that's kind of what I'm looking at for this project. And I'm going to talk a little bit more about that, the success and some of the failures on that in here in just a second. So thinking about the ways that we were successful and in this project was one through come and receive Holy Communion. My team did a really good job of making sure that the information got out that we were having come and receive Holy Communion every month, the first of the month, and even at Christmas Eve, they worked really hard to making sure that when they made their phone calls or they were emailing or texting or Zooming or however it is they were communicating, they were doing that. And it was really interesting to see as I would pass by Barbie's office and listening to her on the phone. That would be something she would remind people, or if people would ask her, hey, are we doing communion this month? And she'd say, yes, it's from 11 to noon underneath the East Portico, and you're more than welcome to come and receive Holy Communion. If not, we can bring you some if you need to. We worked with her on that script, so that way if she was ever asked, she knew exactly what was going on. And at Christmas Eve, we had over 100 people come and receive communion. It started at 50 about August. We hit about the 50 mark at August, and every month from August until Christmas Eve, it's grown to over 100 for Christmas Eve, and that was just really cool to get to see everybody, to have a car line all the way out in the middle of the road, to have just getting to see people. Some people we knew, some people we didn't know, some people we have no clue who they were. They just showed up to come and receive Holy Communion because they had heard about it through either all of our channels that we work to communicate. These things happen with our team stepping up, and Shanna or Ashley filling up the communion trays to make sure that they're ready to go for Sundays or Christmas Eve. Abigail and Nick standing up and supporting during our come and receive back to school event that I happen to actually be in quarantine for. And I think of Melanie Modine, who stepped up and also came and to be a part of that. And we were able to do this through communication, whether it's letting people know that this was happening or letting people know that we needed help, and people would step up and help. And it was just so much fun. These events went really, really well. The other thing that we utilized was Asana. um, my wife doesn't like Asana because it continually reminds her what she needs to do for the next month, whether it's sending in her newsletter article. She is our small groups leader for our adult Bible study, sending me that article, reminding her people what's going on in the church, or anytime Asana has something to send, it will send it to them. And This was very helpful for people like Barbie who needed that task to know what was going on so that way she could see why she was doing these things, why it was part of a larger, bigger picture. And it was very helpful. It also helped keep all my people, my youth director, my associate pastor, and even myself, reminding myself when the newsletter article was due. And this tool was very vital and helpful for us in being successful in connecting with our people as we could see what events were coming up and what was needed. And it just was a great tool for us.
Another fun thing that we did to connect our congregation and to utilize our communication and trying to just connect with our people was we did this event where we took some yard signs and we put a sticker on it that said connected through love on the front, with a little QR code that people could scan to get to find out about us. And then on the back, we had a prayer, like a house blessing prayer for people to have. And what we would do is that the very first Sunday, Shanna and I went to 10 houses and stuck them in people's yards, letting them know that, hey, we're doing this. It's good to see you. But now it's your job to go to somebody else's yard and do the same. And we encouraged them to do that for a whole month. And it was fun to see pictures of people going to people's yards and doing this. People had a really good time of sharing this way of connecting safely, and yet sharing love and praying for one another. We did this in kind of the same space of our pledge drive of being connected in love. And we were able to, those people that returned pledge cards, which I have to be honest with you, we were only shooting for about 4 because those 4 people turned in everything. And we had about 20 people turn in their pledge cards this year just because we stayed connected. And then at that first come and receive at the first of the month, at the end of the pledge drive, people brought their pledge cards or they mailed them back to us with prayer request in them, as we sent our pledge cards out with a prayer request card too, that if you've got a prayer request, please let us know. We'll pray for it or we'll reach out to you. This was a great way for us to connect to our people, both digitally and non-digitally, just through paper. It was fun to see people post their pictures and say, hey, looking, I'm putting my sign in their yard and vice versa. And I think people had a really good time. And this was a really great way for us to be connected to one another through distance and through love. As I think about the lessons learned in the courses that we took, I think it like kind of as an overarching thing about having clear and precise goals and motivation for our team members and holding them accountable for who they are and what their job is. And one of the ways that we learned that was through the outcome-based job description and the one-sentence job description. For me, these 2 items fit really well and can incorporate into who we are and what we're doing as our church. And I'm really looking forward to incorporating this into our life of our congregation. I really, really like this. Like I think this is probably one thing I've kind of bugged Thea. That was one of the things I really enjoyed because I think it laid it out for people. And it also helps me to hold them accountable, but it also holds me accountable to them. And looking forward to rolling that out. And I just really enjoyed that lesson and that time of learning about that. Because I think it was the one thing that was lacking here is letting people know what their job was and why it's important and how we can do better throughout this whole process of being staff. And so I really enjoyed it. It's probably one of the best things that is probably the highlight if I had to pick one for this time. So to bring this project to a close, and I reflect upon it, it was definitely successful. Even right now, as I'm recording this, our youth director is running a Zoom youth meeting without me having to help her in any way, shape, or form. And that takes a load off my plate and it allows me to do other things such as pastoral care. Our congregation is hurting right now. As I'm talking to you right now, our administrative assistant is sitting on life support and will more than likely not make it by the time that we gather on Wednesday. This has allowed our congregation to step up and we know what to do because we've been working on staying connected and communicating as best as we can. And because I'm able to do this, because my team has really learned new things, it just shows that this was very successful. And so I just ask for prayers for my congregation and just it turned out a lot better than I expected.